If you grew up in the glorious era of the Nintendo consoles in the early 90s like I did, there is a good chance that you had a good crack at Battletoads at some stage. Indeed, ask anyone into their 30s about the franchise and they will usually tell you that I love that game. But beyond taking on little green dudes that kicked a lot of enemies, I couldn't really tell you too much more about the game from my childhood. Whilst nostalgia definitely influenced my want to play Battletoads released this week, it definitely didn't trigger any memories beyond hyperextended foots covering a large part of the screen. I'm reviewing the single player version of the game here, and everyone knows that Battletoads is designed best to be a couch cooperative game, but there's kind of a pandemic going on, and I'm definitely not finding a few extra people to join in with this one in my house. If you've got a problem with that, feel free to tell me to go kiss my hand. Apparently, it's all the rage. If you don't know, Battletoads is a two-dimensional beat-em-up. That's pretty much the majority of the gameplay explained in that sentence there. There are other little puzzles and events that mix up the gameplay slightly, but you are spending most of this game running to the right, then clearing respawning waves of bad guys. In the single player version, you have the chance to switch between the three Toads, Rash, Zitz and Pimple. Nice names there. And you can drive your battle score higher by switching between the Toads and gaining higher combination points. I found this not to be super intuitive, especially when trying to switch in highly populated fights, and spamming the D-pad to try and switch sometimes caused a few unwanted hits. The fighting is fun enough. I can't really complain about any part of that. You have slick animations in the fight, and building up combos and dashing works well. It is repetitive, and despite there being different mechanics that you can use, like spitting at the enemies and pulling them closer, I still worked through a lot of the fights by moving enemies into corners and button mashing them to death. I feel here that players who want to get high scores is going to dictate how much they enjoy this fighting mechanics. I'm not driven by that, but I will give it a pass for how well the fighting controls. Give it a minus point for the annoying electrocuting chickens. They are kind of crazy. Battletoads is not a game to be taken seriously, and the writing for the game strives to be comedic in nature. I have to say it can be very hit and miss, although perhaps Battletoads is aimed at an audience that is a bit younger than me. I can imagine my kids having a good laugh at some of the banter, and I have to admit that there were a few moments I had a good belly laugh at the jokes. Very mature indeed. I love the animation style of the game and it looks fantastic. I must say that I enjoyed the cutscenes and dialogue more at large points in my playthrough compared to the actual fighting gameplay. Although I can appreciate Battletoads for staying true to the beat-em-ups genre that the original games were. The story hasn't really grabbed me at all, but I don't think it needs to. Battletoads is a game you can enjoy without thinking all that hard. Playing through on the medium difficulty, it's pretty forgiving as well, so not a lot of rage-inducing moments for me here. The variety of levels and puzzles are pretty average from what I've played, although I haven't finished the game yet. To be honest, not sure if I will play through all the way in single player, although if you think it's worth sticking with, leave a comment below to let me know. Chance to do a stream of Battletoads at some point. The verdict? Well, if you're keen on Battletoads for a single player mode, make sure you're a fan of repetitive fighting and combo pushing to try and give yourself the motivation to get those S ratings. At the start I thought the comedy was a little cringeworthy, though I have to admit I'm really starting to enjoy it. And I think the writing is actually pretty decent here.
Take a seat, I'll stand. No, you stand, I'll sit. Everyone sit.
All in all, I can say that Battletoads lives up to expectations and would be a great couch game to play. I'd be getting this one on console over PC if you have the chance. Think I'm wrong? Well, jump into the comments below and be an absolute Chad and subscribe to the channel.
Great torture team.
Forgive me.
Forgive? More like 400 lashes. See what